In the news, Nigeria's ex-president Obasanjo says Nigeria's situation is bad but redeemable. A global response for African countries urgently needed to stop the spread of IS coming from the UN counter-terrorism chief. And China passes law designed to protect online user data privacy. And to sports, Flame arrives Tokyo despite COVID-19 surge. Details coming up shortly. This is TOS Television, your digital first Pan-African news network. And this is News 360. I am Merciful Ajinamo. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the review of 368 grazing sites across 25 states of Nigeria following the recommendation of a committee chaired by his Chief of Staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari. This was contained in a statement by his Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Malam Garba Shehu. The committee recommended the collection of field data on 368 grazing reserves across 25 states to assess encroachment and encroachers, stakeholder engagement and sensitization, the production of maps, geomapping, tagging of sites, analysis of findings, report preparation, as well as design appropriate communication on grazing reserves and operations. Nigeria's former President Chief Olusegun Aremu Obasanjo has described Nigeria's current situation as very bad but redeemable. He made this known while receiving the national chairman of the country's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Prince Uche Secondus, at the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library, Abeokuta, Ogun State. The former president advised politicians to first strive towards the maintenance of peace and national unity before talking about the 2023 general elections. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) has sealed off a property belonging to the former governor of Kano State, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, in Kano State. A barrister, Mustafa Danjuma, had alleged in a petition that Kwankwaso received contribution of 70 million naira from each of 44 local government councils in Kano State that totals 3.08 billion naira. This amount, which was allegedly channeled towards the presidential primary in 2015, had brought Kwankwaso under investigation by the Anti-Graft Agency. President Muhammadu Buhari has reappointed Ishaq Oloyede as Registrar and Chief Executive of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board for a second term of 5 years. Professor Abubakar Rashid was alongside appointed as Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission for another 5 years, and Hamid Boboi as Executive Secretary of the Universal Basic Education Commission for a second term of 4 years. Buhari also approved the reappointment of Professor Ifeoma Isiogo Abanyihe as Registrar and CEO of the National Business and Technical Examinations Board, and Professor Promise Mabin as the Director Chief Executive of the National Mathematical Center. And now to stories across Africa. Uganda has suspended the operations of 54 non-governmental organizations for a range of reasons, including non-compliance with regulations which require NGOs and other groups not to be involved in politics. The NGOs affected include charities whose work defending the rights of political activists and people affected by a crude oil production project in western Uganda has irritated some government officials. President Yoweri Museveni's government has for several years been increasing pressure on NGOs, accusing some of them of backing the opposition. This is your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television, and you're watching TOS News 360. Africa, global entertainment and sports stories on return. Stay with us. Thank you for staying. Head of the United Nations Office of Counter-Terrorism, Vladimir Voronkov, says a global response is urgently needed to support the efforts of African countries and regional organizations to counter terrorism and address its interplay with conflict, organized crime, governance, and development gaps. He told the Security Council in a briefing that the most alarming development in the counter-terrorism arena over the past 6 months has been the spread of the IS in Africa, with spillover from Mali into Burkina Faso and Niger, incursions from Nigeria into Niger, Chad and Cameroon, and from Mozambique into Tanzania. On the global scene, China's National People's Congress on Friday passed a law designed to protect online user data privacy and will implement the policy from November 1st. The law's passage completes another pillar in the country's efforts to regulate cyberspace and is expected to add more compliance requirements for companies in the country. The law states that handling of personal information must have clear and reasonable purpose and shall be limited to the minimum scope necessary to achieve the goals of handling data. It also lays out conditions for which companies can collect personal data, including obtaining an individual's consent, as well as laying out guidelines for ensuring data protection when data is transferred outside the country. The Malaysian palace on Friday announced that King Al Sultan Abdullah has named veteran politician Ismail Sabri Yaqub of the new Prime Minister of the country. Yaqub will be Malaysia's third Prime Minister in 3 years. According to the statement released by the palace, the new Prime Minister will be sworn in on Saturday after receiving the support of 114 members of parliament, which is more than the 111 required for a simple majority. Yaqub takes over as the Southeast Asian nation grapples with a surge in COVID-19 infections and an economic slump amid growing public anger over the handling of the health crisis. And talking entertainment, the former regional director of Mnet West Africa, Wangi Mbauzoku, has been appointed as the principal head of content acquisition for Amazon Prime in Africa. Her appointment comes few months after enabling Nigerian cinemas to be among the few to screen Coming to America too. Wangi announced the new appointment via a post on her Instagram page. And in sports, the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic flame arrived in Tokyo on Friday as coronavirus cases hit new records in Japan just 4 days before the Games began. Japan's daily infections topped 25,000 for the first time on Thursday, with the number of severe cases higher than ever than is driven by the more contagious Delta variant. Organizers therefore urged participants to follow virus rules with increased vigilance. And that is TOS News 360 on your digital first Pan-African news network. For more updates, visit www.tostvnetwork.com. Do follow and like our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And remember to subscribe on YouTube. Do stay with us and enjoy more programs on TOS Television Network. I am Merciful Ajinamo. Many thanks for watching.